Vandeham, my goodness. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitanscha Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahaviranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurasajay Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasa Adi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, dear devotees, we have Paramananda Prabhu in the car. We've got Sri Leka Devidasi in the temple, maybe, or at home. Either way, it's a temple. Different manifestations of a temple. All in the daytime. One is in the evening, one is in the morning. And we have Vrindavan Eshwari and anybody else in Brazil. I think you're the only one at the moment from Brazil doing the midnight shift. Midnight shift in Brazil. Oh, but we've got 2 Brazilians in the Brazilian embassy. Yes, but they're not in Brazil. They're in the Brazilian embassy in Govinda Farm, Thailand. And Bhima Krishna face, Ishtadevika, Devidasi, their happy face. And Rupanuga Prabhu somewhere on planet Earth. Oh, I know Krishna from Brazil. She popped up. Ah, there we are, looking like daytime. And Aparajita, she's there in Thailand, north of Thailand. Jayadev, oh, Jayadev Prabhu, there in Salt Lake City too. Jay. And Dana in Florida, Muktinath Das in Thailand, Gangalila Devidasi there in USA also. So very happy to meet you all. And some hearts popping up on the screen. Association with devotees is naturally a happy thing. And when we traveling, or sometimes we're without devotees for a few hours, we're going somewhere for some reason or another. When we first again meet the devotee, oh my goodness, then we just want to embrace, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So just 1 second, putting on Facebook, because we know the devotees are there, and like myself, sneaking in sometimes to the programs quietly without being detected, perhaps. And so we're on. So we're on Facebook also, and to all the devotees on Facebook, and here on Zoom, and in the recorded version, wherever you may find us. And then our appreciation to you, our obeisances to all of the devotees, and appreciation to all the sincere seekers. So today is Sunday, and not only even, but our devotees also preparing in some places to go to their families, because it's traditional time for families for meeting up together this Christmas time. But I can say in Navadip that Christmas, only in the later time when Srila Gurudev sort of allowed or graciously accepted the sentiments of the Western devotees, only in the very later time was Christmas at all sort of even remembered practically within Chaitanya Saraswati Mata in Navadip. Minimal. Gurudev say a word or two. But in the last 2 years or so, devotees or 3 years maybe, devotee started to decorate his veranda, put up some Christmassy kind of things, which was fine when it was close to his Vyasa Puja, but Gurudev would say, okay, leave the decorations up like this. But when it was specifically for Christmas, sometimes it was a little bit, well, Gurudev is accepting the sentiment of the devotees, but it's not really what we do in the mat. And but with the Western devotees coming, of course, it's a natural, without baby Jesus, it's a natural time for devotees to come together with their families, or for people to come together with their families. But our family, it's the devotee family. When we come together with the devotees, then when nourished, and if we are fortunate to have devoted families, then, of course, it's happy. But to just have the formality of the small talk about the relations, about the health, what operations have we had, have you had, grandpa this, grandpa that, and little baby this, and little baby that, then it's very kind of shallow, and it's fine to keep good relations with each other. But for Christmas, we should try to have a little reminder to our friends and relatives about, actually, I think Christmas has something to do with a great guru who came, called Jesus, who came to teach about love of God, who came to teach, thou shalt not kill turkeys. Oh my goodness, no, he didn't say turkeys. Thou shalt not kill anything. Anyhow, to put the perspective back on the Jesus, we can always try to nudge the family conversation in that direction. Anyway, Christmas is coming, and the geese are getting fat. And geese have got very good behavior, very good hearts. Sri Lanka knows the geese in Navadip were very affectionate to some, and they had a lot of character because they chased others. But they had a lot of character and affection, I have to say that. And then unthinkable that we would eat a goose. Okay, so that's my beginning about Jesus. And about Jesus, all respect, Gurudev and Guru Maharaj giving, and Bhaktivinoda giving all honor to Jesus as a great reformer. And he set the scene for many in the Western world for God the person. He made man in his own form and many things, but set the scene without the description of beautiful Krishna playing his flute and all the wonderful things that we hear when we come to the conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who Srila Guru Maharaj in his very original expression uses the expression full-fledged theism of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when we come to such full-fledged theism from the full-fledged saints, then we've got a combination of great fortune for us, because that full-fledged theism includes the mercy to every living entity, not only the goose, but even us who are more fallen than a goose, because the goose follows his dharma. His DNA tells him so many things, what he can eat, what he can't eat, when he can mate, when not to mate, and so many things are told by his DNA. But we can eat anything, we can do unrestricted life, because we've been given the freedom as a human. But when we misuse that freedom, then we're worse than a goose. If we use that freedom properly, then we are on our way home. So let us be in the category that is on our way home rather than on our way somewhere else. And if it's not home, it's not happy or temporarily happy. We want to go to our home and not to the pub. The pub will make you happy for a couple of hours. Going home will make you ecstatically happy forever. So let's take that option. All right. Anyway, we've got lots of very capable devotees here to say something substantial. If you like, I can read something short, which I read yesterday. Gangalila Devidas is here with us, and she knows what I'm going to read because I sent this little excerpt to her yesterday, and it's in our reading here. It was just fresh. When something's fresh and we've just read it, and we feel inspired, we're happy to share with others. So I did read this yesterday. Now I have to find it today. Oh, I can find it, but I have to find the phone. Then I can find the excerpt. This is an excerpt from Srila Guru Maharaj, and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Kindly excuse. Yes, I'm going to have to read it from the phone. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara. Okay, I'm reading from the phone, and it's Srila Guru Maharaj, and it is the book In the Light of Loving Devotion by Srila Guru Maharaj. And if you do have the book, it's page 151 to 152. And so it's not a secret, but here we are. So it's a short excerpt, but we read it a couple of days ago here in the program, and it jumped out at us all. It wasn't only me, the devotees. Really, they were very, stunned by this, myself too. Like it's a wake up expression of Guru Maharaj. Okay, so a devotee asks, it seems that both in our preaching and in our devotional service life, sorry, I'm on the phone. Wrong spectacles. Excuse me. Okay. So it seems that both in our preaching and in our devotional service life in general, though we might be trying our best with humility, tolerance, and offering respect as much as we can, there is still so much opposition from people or from the environment. How can we overcome this? All right. I'm going to be a very bad reader. One moment. Okay, I'm back. Then Srila Guru Maharaj says, after that, Srila Guru Maharaj says, that opposition will help us more intensively search for a higher plane. So that opposition will help us to more intensively search for a higher plane. The decision, the absolute decision about what comes to us, that comes from the upper level, and it will help us to search for the higher plane more intensely. We will have to examine ourselves whether the path I have taken, is it only imagination, or is any reality there? Then we must like thinking, Krishna is everything and he protects his devotees. Such statement, is it only theoretical or is it real? That Krishna is everything and he protects his devotees. Such statement, is it only theoretical or is it real? We must make experiments with this truth in our own life, and we will make progress step by step. Such tests will be extended to us by Krishna himself. And Krishna himself saying, this is Srila Guru Maharaj's like dialogue of Krishna presenting. So Krishna saying, do you have faith in me as absolute, or in any other party, that they are your master. And Guru Maharaj saying, is your faith, excuse me, is your faith only lip deep? When you say that Krishna is everything, he is over all, is it a lip deep statement, or does it really come from your heart and conscience? To say, nothing can be done without his consent, Krishna's consent. Nothing may happen without his will. Is this all imaginary propaganda, or is it real? Is it a reality to live in and live on, or only something to preach? Hare Krishna. All right, dear devotees. Of course, there is more, but I just also realized that our Brazilians also heard this yesterday too. So happily, because to repeat something good. You say, oh, I heard it before. Yes, I've read it, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times since we read it in the class. In the class sounds very formal, but in the happy evening program in Vila Govinda a couple of days ago. Anyway, as you can see, I'm not the best reader or speaker this morning, but I'll do something about my nose and everything else while the devotees are speaking. So who's our first volunteer speaker for today? Sri Leka's microphone is already open, so I think this is a sign.
Oh. Dandavat Maharaj. Dandavat, nice to see you, Paramananda Prabhu and Bimal Krishna Prabhu and all the Govinda Farm sweethearts and all the devotees. Dandavat, Dandavat. Maharaj, well, I don't know what to talk about, but one thing that you mentioned the geese in Navadvip, and it made me think about that funny story. They called them the hangsas, right?
Yes.
The geese. And one time, one of the geese was trying to bite Janardhan Maharaj. Do you remember? I was just, and Janardhan Maharaj just, but it only got his cloth. And then later on, Janardhan Maharaj asked Srila Gurudev, does the Paramahamsa ever bite? And Gurudev said, only the cloth. Which I thought was such a lovely thing. I really remember that a lot. It may seem that we're getting such a big chastisement or something like that, but he's only biting the cloth. That was really sweet. And I was thinking what you were saying also, Srila Maharaj, about you know how we are going on gradually and reading how Srila Guru Maharaj is saying that. And today I was remembering an analogy that Srila Guru Maharaj gave about the horse, you know, and how we are gradually going on in the right direction. And we know theoretically, or we know the process of surrender, the process, like Guru Maharaj said, is it only lip deep? Are you just preaching something that Krishna is the Lord of all, or that he's the cause of all causes and that nothing can happen without his sanction? Do you believe that? Or are you only saying that? So we're practicing that what is coming to me, we're, you know, actually remembering that and actually bowing down. But this takes some time because we are so much accustomed to a certain reaction. You know, we're so conditioned to a certain reaction to certain things that happen. But Guru Maharaj is giving the analogy of a horse, that you might be riding a horse, but you want to go in this direction, but the horse wants to go in this direction. And he said, all at once, you can't change his mind. but you let him go a little way, and then, and then it goes a little way more, and you gradually get him so that he's happily going in the direction in which you want to go. So it's something like that with our mind and our conditioned responses to everything. It's very, very difficult to even recognize how we are not remembering that the Lord is bringing this circumstance to me. It is good for me, for sure. It cannot be bad. It's not only, Guru Maharaj said, not only not bad, but actually filled with sweetness. But the mind will just start doing this thing that it does when this happens and all that. And then you remember, no, let's go this way. We have to remember the Lord. You have to bow down, my Lord. You are there. You are all good. There is nothing bad that can come from you. And coming to a higher perspective on the circumstances and seeing from a different point of view how much sweetness there is in reality. And it's taking us a little time. So there's two qualities, and one is enthusiasm and the other is patience. And neither one of those can be sacrificed. We don't want to be patient to the point of indifference and just becoming lazy. And at the same time, we don't want to give up enthusiasm, and we don't want to give up patience, because we know that these things will take some time, but we are enthusiastic for it. And at the same time, certain lessons are coming when they need to, and when we are in a position to learn something new. So we are under the wing of our guardian and proceeding with happiness, with enthusiasm, and never being bogged down by Maya's trick, that when you are not coming up to the standard that you want to, that this is who you are. And that's called mundane lamentation. It's one of the tricks of illusion, that this failure or this inability to do as, to come to the place of surrender that you think you should, and then that whisper comes, now this is what you are. You cannot progress past this. This is your eternal situation. You are wrong, bad, or anything like that. That becomes mundane. But instead of that, we will just bow down and say, my Lord, you see me, I am not strong, but I am yours. And please, you just continue to guide me and make all the progress that I may make in surrender to you be for you, and not for any other purpose, not for any other reward, not for any other goal, but to increase my devotion for you. You arrange that. You are the miracle maker. So there's just a couple of, things that I've been thinking about, and we've been talking about these things today. So I just thought
Jai Shri Guru Dev, Jai Shri Guru Maharaj, Jai, the path of Bhakti. It is so hopeful. Does anybody agree with me? It is hopeful. Or have you been reading the parts that say it's hopeless? So few out of millions who come to the path of spiritual life. Then only a few come to recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead out of those, like this. So finally, we come to the rare, pure devotee of the Lord. So if we read some parts of the scripture, as in Shri Prapana Jivanamrita, Srila Guru Maharaj points out, that sometimes we can read something from the scripture and we get much encouragement when we see that Krishna is the friend of the fallen. But sometimes we read the scriptures and we see the example of the great souls in the past who did so much austerity, and only they received the grace of the Lord after tens of thousands of years of praying and struggling and searching after the Lord, then we have become hopeless. How can we get anywhere close to that standard? But it's the Mahaprabhu's grace that's giving us all that opportunity. Jai. So nobody else seemed to nod and say, yes, I think it's a hopeful path. You've been reading the other paths. Oh, Jai Gauranga Prabhu. He's thinking it's a little hopeful. In good association, and Sri Lekha just gave you all a little certificate. What did you say? The sweethearts in Govinda land. Govinda, well, in Govinda land too, but in Govinda farm. The sweethearts in Govinda farm. When there's one missing, there's one more sweetheart. Ram Sundar missing. And two more sweethearts, Krishna Priya missing. And they don't have geese, but they do have guinea fowl and
turkeys.
Turkeys. All right, they're turkeys. Oh, yes, be careful. Look after the turkeys. Christmas is coming. Right. So, Paramananda Prabhu, you're driving, and I see that you're going through different tunnels, but it's Japan, and I did notice your internet did not break once while going through the tunnels. That's pretty good. Are you driving yourself, or are you in the passenger seat?
I'm driving, but can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, it is amazing. In a long tunnel, and the internet is still working.
Well done, Japan. So even in the middle of a mountain, then the internet can hear us. What to speak of Krishna? We're deep in a mountain, and some of these tunnels, they're deep within a mountain. But wherever we are, Krishna can hear. And we can hear you, Paramananda Prabhu. Would you like to share something with us? Or is it safe to do so? Or do you need to concentrate more?
For us, there's nowhere safe in this world, you know that.
Well, yes, but there's very few places more unsafe than driving.
But the sadhus are saying, if we are to remember Krishna, then all the dangers of the world will become just like a little water in a footprint of a cow. So let's try to be in that mood while we're driving. Just for a short while, let's see if I can manage it. And if anything happens, Maharaj, that means I did not manage to remember Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And now you're making me remember Krishna.
But Sri Lekha Didi just finished on a very nice subject by saying that, such as I am, you please accept me. And as I remember, there was a verses, at least one is for sure, maybe two verses. And one of them by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, another one is by Jamuna Acharya. And they're expressing very similar sentiments. They're saying that I am not a religious person. I haven't done anything pious in my life. And unfortunately, I had no association with the saintly personality. But, Krishna, please, you accept me as I am. In this state of affairs, in my position, such as I am, I'm surrendering to you. You take me as I am. And that is their sincere prayer. It's not some kind of a show of humility. Really, they're thinking like that. Because even though I may say they're surrounded by they had no capacity to receive from them their grace. They had no qualification to serve them properly. And again, this is their sincere expression of humility, deep humility, the humility, not some kind of a cheap show, but the real thing. And we can talk about it a lot too. And I remember when I just recruited by International Society of Krishna Consciousness, and I was a young brahmachari in the temple. we were all thinking that there is only Krishna, no other religions, no other prophets, no other sons of God. They have no truth in their preaching or in their words. And it was going on like that for quite some years. And really, it is by the grace of Guru Maharaj, we come to understanding that Krishna can express himself in so many different ways, so through so many different living beings, sometimes immobile living beings, the environment, human beings, animals. What to speak of someone on that level? And we hear, not once from Srila Guru Maharaj, but from Srila Govinda Maharaj, how nicely he glorified Jesus Christ on a Christmas day, really expressing his position as the guru of the society, bringing something good. And I always remember Gurudev's words when someone objected that we shouldn't post any pictures of Govinda Maharaj in the company of the Buddhist monks. He was quite upset about this expression of neophyte-like thinking. And quickly he made a statement saying that if they're doing anything good for the humanity, then they're worthy of my worship. Means post it and stop thinking in that way. So in a similar way, Krishna, he expressed his will through the deeds and teachings of Lord Jesus. And naturally, we should have a lot of respect, accept him as one of the spiritual masters, as one of the gurus. And it's not so, I mean, I grew up in a society where we never celebrated Christmas. The biggest thing was the New Year, as you know. So the Christmas was something new we learned later on about. But there are so many people. Right now, it's a big thing everywhere. In Japan, there are so many people gathering. In Thailand, where there's a majority of Buddhist believers, they're gathering and they're celebrating that. So it's a wonderful day. I guess it's coming in a couple of days. Kind of lost the count of days these days. I've been on the road for a while. Is it?
After 3 days, well, it depends where we are in the world, but 25th. Here is early morning 22nd in Europe.
Anyhow, I don't know what else to say. I think absorbed in the mundane activities, the ocean of mundanity as always. So I'm just happy to be with the Vaishnavas, and I missed quite a few back to Bhakti basics. So wonderful to see everybody and to hear everybody. So maybe we should hear something from Divya Shakti Didi.
Exactly. She's queued up, Prabhu. She's queued up. And just one thought came in my mind, too, that Srila Gurudev said about Jesus in glorification, praise of Jesus, that Jesus, he said, we are preaching humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, and not wanting honor for oneself. And Jesus is showing us that. And with all sincerity of heart, our Gurudev saying, look at his life. His life is that. And we are always preaching that. So there we
Self-sacrifice.
Self-sacrifice, yes.
That's another theme.
Yes, Divya Shakti Devi Dasi. Bright, bright and with us. She's always bright, but she's not always with her camera on or with her microphone on. There's a little button there, Divya Shakti. You'll find it. It's there somewhere to turn on the microphone. Or maybe we can ask you. Okay, you've got it.
Oh, wow. Oh, Vanshakopa to all of you. Vanshakopa. Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyapacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. I prayed offer my respects to all of you with sincerity. And not lip deep, but with my heart. Anyway, I'm very embarrassed that you called on me, Paramananda Prabhu. But, you know, there's a few things that came to my mind about this Christmas time. I really feel that it is a very beautiful time of the year. And it reflects a bit of Vaishnavism because it's about service, humility, giving, the heart giving to others. And, there's one quote that I'm trying to remember. Forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespassed against us. And that when I heard that the other day, it just kind of like really opens the heart for forgiveness, and we're always begging the Lord to please forgive me. We ask the devotees, the Vaishnavas, please forgive my offenses. And that was in the Christian faith that they have said that. So I think this Christmas season, it's about the spirit. It's about the spirit of forgiveness and giving honor to others, and mainly forgiveness, and they have all those crazy movies out and bah humbug and all of that, but there's such a touch of Vaishnavism in Christianity, and I think it's really beautiful. And I think it comes out like we try to practice the spirit of Christmas all the time throughout the year. It's just not like one time of year, but all the time, if we can be humble and give honor to others and try to serve, and it's about service and things like that. But there is a little thing, because our service is to please the Lord, and that's what they want to do. I believe the Christians, they all want to please the Lord, but the way they go about it, it's through pleasing the sentiment of maybe the material energy or something, to go through that way. I'm not too sure, but I just do think it is a very beautiful time of year. I sound like that song, right? The Christian song. It's such a beautiful time of the year. But anyway, I think it's a very beautiful time of the year for all of us and for the Christians. And it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone. And I really appreciate what you were saying. And I've been following a bit with Prapanam Jivanam Ritam, and you mentioned it just now, and Sri Leka's reading from it every morning, and I'm following her with it. So I just want to share this. It's something that we can all relate to, especially Sri Leka, because she's always telling us this. So it's just a small little paragraph. Shall I read it?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's Prapanam Jivanam Ritam, and it's in the foreword, and that's where we are. So I just want to read this again. It says, surrender is the foundation of the world of devotion. It is the very life and essence. One cannot enter into that domain without surrender. It must be present in every form of service. And to attempt divine service without it will be mere imitation or a lifeless formality. The entire gist of the Vedic instruction is to dedicate oneself to the service of the Lord. In this commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Sridhar Swamipad has stated that only if the practices of devotion are initially offered to the Supreme Lord can they be recognized as devotion. To attempt to execute them and subsequently offer them cannot be pure devotion. Iti nava lakshanani yashahasa aditena ched bhagavati vishnu bhaktir kriyate kapitaiva satiyadi kriyate natu krita sati paschad apyeta. Without surrender, the activity will be adulterated with exploitation, renunciation, artificial meditation, karma, jnana, yoga, and so on. So I was thinking about this, and I'm always thinking about it because Srileka always talks about it. It becomes lifeless if we don't surrender first, and we can't like offer something and then try to surrender, it's like, it's like we have to really give our heart and surrender first. And I really don't know how to do that. I'm trying to practice and to follow the instructions of Sri Gurudev and Guru Maharaj and all the great acharyas, but I know nothing. I know nothing about surrender. I'm just trying to hang in there and do what I can, and I just thought that I would read that because surrender is the foundation of the world of devotion. So anyway, that's something to aspire for. And I just thought that I would read that so that we can all think about that and try to feel something. It's the very life. It is the very life in essence. One cannot enter into the domain without surrender. So I just have to learn how to surrender. So that's what I wanted to share. There is something else I wanted to mention. It was about, I was listening to a tape of Gurudev, and he was quoting a lot from Brahma Samhita. And I'm really attracted to trying to start to read that book again. It's always been a difficult one for me to understand because, the words are so big by Maharaj he used, but, when you're reading an association of devotees, it's really nice. But, he was talking about Lord Shiva and Sadashiva and all of these things. And it's really hard to understand. So it's nice when you can discuss it in the association of senior devotees with other people. So the Brahma Samhita is a very amazing piece of literature that we have, and we're so fortunate. So I'm very eager to try to check into that and look into it and listen to the tape again. I sent this videotape out to a few people, and Gurudev, in the beginning of the tape, he talks about Brahma Samhita. So anyway, I don't have much to say. Please forgive me, but yeah, spirit of Christmas, it's good. And
you've inspired Paramananda Prabhu to respond as well. He's put up a hand, so I think he's going to also have a dialogue with you, perhaps. Paramananda Prabhu.
It's the theme that Srileka Didi, well, it's the theme generally, let's just say. And I was listening to Govinda Maharaj recently, since it was his Vyasa Puja, as all of you know. And then he's just having an informal conversation. And it's his, perhaps, morning meeting with the devotees before the main ceremony, before everybody will say things about him, glorify him. And it was very jolly and very humorous. And then he's telling the story. He's saying that actually it is suicidal. What I'm doing is suicidal. I'm glorifying myself by allowing to be glorified, by facilitating that. And then he tells the famous story that most of you know. And the story is about Arjuna taking a vow, Diva, then he will have to kill that person. Or if he is unable to do so, he will have to commit suicide. You know the story, I believe. Srileka Didi, you know the story. Maharaj knows the story. Everyone else can do the homework. It's a long story. But the long story short, so one of the ways of killing himself, and Krishna is chastising Arjuna when Arjuna was unable to kill Yudhishthira, his elder brother. He's saying, what are you doing? Then I have to kill myself. And he was ready to take his own life. And Krishna said, are you going insane? completely insane now? What are you doing? There's so many different ways. Don't you listen to? I mean, I told you so many times about it, and you're not even giving any attention. And one of the ways of killing yourself is to glorify yourself. So go ahead and glorify yourself. Then you vow will be fulfilled. You will have no sin on your side. And just, oh yes, yes, thank you, Lord. Yes, my body is not mine. It belongs to you. Yes, everything is correct. So he glorified himself very nicely. So he died by doing that. So Govinda Maharaj is telling that story to the devotees. And then he's saying, but Shudashaw Prabhu, he put a different perspective on that. He said, and he said that after hearing him out, I'm thinking, if what I'm doing right now, giving pleasure, joy, and satisfaction to all the Vaishnavas gathered, then I'm ready to kill myself multiple times, as much as necessary. Meaning committing that kind of suicide by facilitating the glorification of myself. And really that shows a great humility and at the same time a wonderful sense of humor of Srila Govinda Maharaj. That's what I wanted to share.
Jai. And
If
also,
it is for the pleasure of the devotees, no problem. Yes, Maharaj.
I just going to say, and a wonderful expression by Shruta Shrava Prabhu too. Hare Krishna. Jai. Yes, Parananru. Yes, Dibishakti Devi Rasi. All you good souls. My goodness.
You all are just amazing.
And in that same section, I see Dibya Shakti is looking through Prapana Jivanamritam there. In that same section of the introducing the book, Srila Guru Maharaj also says, and because Sharanagati is so essential, is not only so essential, is essential for our devotional life. Therefore, it should always be discussed. We shouldn't, put it on the back burner, this Sharanagati, it's, just, shh, we talk about it sometimes and otherwise it's just, too difficult to talk about. And so, it is good for us to read Prapana Jivanamritam. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's secretary, he changed from his daily routine of reading Gita to the daily routine of reading Sri Sri Prapana Jivanamritam. He was so struck by what Srila Guru Maharaj brought together. And the Prapana Jivanamritam, it's structured in the way that it's Srila Guru Maharaj is explaining the 6 limbs of surrender. There are a lot of sixes in our base, in our foundation of devotional life. All of you are familiar, the 6 senses to control, the 6 things to avoid, the 6 things to do, all these things. And here in the Prapana Jivanamritam, Srila Guru Maharaj quotes every verse, I believe, every verse of the Prapana, the Upadeshamritam. He quotes every verse, chapter by chapter, and he structured it according to the 6 limbs of surrender, which are, everyone can answer, acceptance of the favorable, rejection of the unfavorable, full confidence in the Lord's protection, embracing the Lord's guardianship, full self-surrender, and humility. Another just 6 things to put in our memory, not just to memorize, but as we started today with Srila Guru Maharaj saying about the substance of what we're doing. Are we taking all this to heart or not? So here are 6 things to remember. And I know we're very bad. We're all very bad. Okay. Until now, except for 1 or 2 who've been very good, we're all very bad at doing homework and actually remembering things. But to remember the 6 limbs of surrender, they're very good. And we all have, either we have the book Prapana Jivanamritam or we have full access to it because you have internet and we're right here. So acceptance of the favorable, rejection of the unfavorable, full confidence in the Lord's protection, then embracing the Lord's guardianship, full self-surrender and humility. Hare Krishna. This is our homework. Hare Krishna. I don't want to look at myself on the screen. Go to the gallery. Hare Krishna. Would anybody like to make a contribution? Checking, oh yes, some chats in the chat box. Sevarupa, she's put, from absolute harmony, love for betrayal. Oh my goodness. So please, you have mined this from the treasures of Srila Guru Maharaj. Could you kindly read this for us, Sevarupa Devinasi?
Jai Gurudev. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna. So, Maharaj, I just managed to take the short part out from there, but if you'd like, I can read just some from the above that and some below to give some context.
Yes, many of us do know the context, but please, you do so. Yes. No, please, you do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, okay, so then just a little bit from the above that insert. So this is by Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj from the book called Absolute Harmony and the section called Love for Betrayal. So Jesus has already said at his Last Supper, amongst these 12 disciples, one will betray me. He knew Judas had been there. He knew Judas had been there then, and Jesus had cast his glance towards Judas. Then later, when Judas came with the soldiers and scribes to the garden of Gethsemane, I don't know how to say that, to capture him, Jesus had cast his glance towards Judas once again and was thinking, you think you are exploiting me for some money, but I am exploiting you for eternity. You have to stand out as a sinful person against me. I knew you were a traitor, but I did not disclose you. I still took you within my group of followers, knowing full well that I am exploiting you. The look of Jesus was like that. Judas was crazed. He threw away the sack of silver. He ran to the authorities and said, I have committed the worst sin. I cannot tolerate it. Judas's energy was drunk. His spirit was drawn. Just like in jiu-jitsu, when someone attacks the opposition with great force, but the opposition suddenly withdraws, causing the attacking person to fall on their face. Judas found himself in that sort of position. Jesus was exchanging love for betrayal. It was the sort of love that disarmed and sent Judas mad. I treated him so wickedly, yet his look is not one of vindictiveness, but of infinite gratitude. That sort of look Jesus cast upon me. Then Srila Guru Maharaj says, in the perfect vision, in the full-fledged consideration, every atom is helping the pastime of Krishna, whether it is direct or indirect. And although it seems to be indirect at present, a deeper vision will reveal that it is coming towards direct service. And a little bit after that, insert, Jagai and Madai came in the beginning to physically beat Nityananda Prabhu, yet later they became submissive. They ended up singing the holy names of Nityananda and Gauranga, showing an example to the public. They showed we, the worst rogues, are converted into honest men by the mercy of our benevolent Lord. They enhanced the beauty of the conduct of the Lord by sacrifice. To play the negative role, great sacrifice is required. They gave They gave way their own fame to make the Lord glorious forever. The depth of our vision will detect these things. We will see so much direct service, even from the indirect section. Maya and Satan are also rendering service to God. Without darkness, light cannot be perceived. To play the part of darkness, to show the greatness of light, sacrifice is required. Satan is illuminating God's greatness. He is apparently negative, but Satan's contribution makes God so magnanimous. If Satan did not exist, then how could we understand the goodness and greatness of God? Everywhere there is the grace of God. Hi, Gurudev.
Very
Jai.
nice.
And this is the catalyst for something which Paramanandru commented on a couple of times fairly recently, where he saw in the news where they discovered some scrolls or something which had been lost from so long ago, some Christian scrolls which gave this same light about Judas, which only Srila Guru Maharaj has given before, that Guru Maharaj recognized that, Guru Maharaj expressed like this. And then now the scientists have discovered, oh yes, the Christians themselves have given such a record in the past. Where was that, or what was the name of that, if devotees want to look it up to get extra support, Paramananda?
It's one of those scrolls related to the scrolls, famous scrolls of the Dead Sea. And it is called the Gospel of Judas.
Oh, okay.
So Savarupa Didi was just referring to Guru Maharaj, representing he is using this to illustrate his point by a generic representation of Judas' position. But in another passages, he is glorifying him as the best servitor of Jesus, saying that no one could perform that seva. I mean, really, no one could do that but him. And he knew, and Jesus said to him that your name will be cursed for eternity. Are you ready for that? And said, if it is in your service, why would I care about my name being cursed for eternity? Really, it's a small matter. So in that gospel, they found exactly the same thing, what Guru Maharaj was saying in 1980. So the gospel was found about maybe 10 years ago. It's relatively new, and it was published in National Geographic, the whole research and the translations of the passages. But it all contradicted the official theory of the different churches. Well, the kind of hush it a bit. So, but yes, it can be accessed. If you just Google a Gospel of Judas, National Geographic, you will get a review of that document, ancient document in Aramaic language.
Jai. Govinda, Govinda. Would anybody like to make a comment?
Well,
Yes, Govinda. Oh, no, I missed. Oh, Sri Lanka. Yes, I heard her speak.
I'll listen.
No.
I was just going to say that I also heard Srila Guru Maharaj speaking about this in a talk, and not specifically referring to Judas or the Christian topic, but in general, there's the sort of the indirect servants and the direct servants. The indirect servants he's referring to even in Vrindavan, you could say the party that wants to take Krishna away from the best servitors, and they have their part to play. But Srila Guru Maharaj said, we are the followers of the positive. We're the followers of the direct servitors. And I think it's a kind of a nice point to make in this context, because we understand that there is the indirect service, and that has its, even its divine play, but that we are the followers of the direct service. I mean, it's a little bit esoteric, but we want to follow Mahaprabhu in the fully positive service mood to the great servitors of, you know, of Srila Rupa Goswami, and we want to be in that positive line, in that direct line, and not to go in the back and be part of the opposing party, which has its place, but we don't want to be part of that. This is what he was saying, and I was really surprised that would even come, you know, as a topic for us, because we're just such, you know, we're just trying to like remember that we're not this body and all those things, but he is trying to guide us properly in direct, you know, taking the direct position. So I thought I'd mention that.
Srila Guru Maharaj always is protecting us, and it reminds me of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj also, always trying to protect, taking thinking what others may think, and then nipping it in the bud. You know, so for those who have got some ambition to be an opposition party in service of Krishna, let's nip that in the bud before they start becoming enthusiastic.
Yeah, and there may be parties that would have this kind of conception that we might meet along the road, and we don't want to become part of that.
Who might have that conception? Did you name somebody?
You know, there's so many different conceptions that float around in the, like say the Indian mindset, and we don't want to be, oh yeah, we're going to join this thing. We're going to be the, you know, always saving us from bad association.
Jai. All right. So this week, our time has run by, as time does, but we are in wonderful association, and we have every day is a festival running throughout the week, and today is going to be the Sunday festival in the series of every day is a festival in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. And let that Sunday festival happen all over the world, in north of Thailand, in the middle of Thailand, in the south of Thailand. Aha. Yes, Pavan Prabhu is now in the middle of Thailand too, along with nearby Govinda Farm. And we always associate Pavan Krishna Prabhu with Bangkok. And today we don't have with us Muktinath Prabhu, but we can remember him. And Aparajita Devirasi, representing the north of Thailand. Jai. And around the world, devotees representing different places, from the east of the United States to the west of the United States. Kamala is in the east, and the devotees in the west. From Australia, Priya Bhakta, Rupanuga, somewhere on planet Earth, wearing a t-shirt, so in a warm place on planet Earth. And anyway, oh, Muktinath Prabhu is here. Oh, Muktinath, you're representing Bangkok.
Thank you, Dandavad Maharaj.
Dandavad.
Wow.
You threw me off because it was the Himalayas, and then there we are. The Himalayas of Bangkok. Bangkok is an amazingly concrete-filled city, much more so than so many other places. Los Angeles, San Francisco, very famous cities, but Bangkok, my goodness.
Concrete jungle.
Yeah. Concrete mountains. Amazing. Right. Okay, dear devotees, let's not get distracted. We must remember Krishna, and it's amazing what man does with Krishna's energy, like making a concrete mountain-filled city like Bangkok. But Krishna, he makes everything. He's so amazing. But his main job is to enjoy, and to enjoy what? The devotion of his devotees. So let us be in the favorable current of favorable service to the devotees. And Srileka kept us on course there, for those of you who made adding Jai, Jagai, and Jai, not anything late, Hiranyakashipu to your Jai lists, just to nip that in the bud. But here we are, we're trying to be in the favorable servitors under the guidance of the sweetest hearts, the broadest hearts, the generous, most generous hearts, the guidance of Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada. So jai to all of their lotus feet, ki jai. Jai to Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, ki jai. To Srila Gaur Das Babaji Maharaj, ki jai. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, ki jai. Our whole Rupa Nuga Guru Bhaga, ki jai. And let us also give jai to Shishi Prapanna Jivanamritam, ki jai. And this week, let us try to do homework of 6 things, the 6 limbs of surrender. And maybe we can put them in the chat box, but whether you have time to copy them out or not, I don't know. Zoom, chat, chat, click, 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 click. There you are. I put them in the chat box. See if you can copy them out before whoever's got their finger on the trigger shuts off our Zoom. I think it's Leela Moy Prabhu is looking after us. No? Who's our host at the moment? Host, yes, is Leela Moy.
Yeah, it's me. It's me.
It's you. We got an echo. All right. Okay, so this week, the Govinda farm was almost quiet. Let's see, we may hear something from them in a few days' time when we're back here on Zoom. We're back here on Facebook. We're back here with all of you sweet devotees, as Sri Lekha David, as he said, the sweetheart devotees. That describes Gaura Mandal, the Mandal, the region of sweetness from Gaur. And in those who've been to the mat, they know what is Gaur. It is sweet molasses that goes with muri and other good things. Simple breakfast for simple living and high thinking. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Jai Shri Bhakti Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
6 limbs of surrender and sadhu sangha, sarva shastrakai, keeping good association with the devotees. Wishing you successful Seva days. We'll meet very soon. Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Ami Ashchi.
Oh, yay.